There's a practice of St. Ignatius of Loyola known as the Spiritual Examen. And what it is a way of reflecting on your day. That as you come to the end of the day, you take time to pause and to sit and reflect back on the day. And it has different movements to the reflection. It starts in a space of gratitude, looking back and thinking of all the things that you are thankful for in this day. And then it moves to a moment by moment and hour by hour examination of the day, where you may consider all the places God might have been inviting to you. And which of those invitations did you accept? Or which of those invitations did you ignore? Or maybe as you go through your day hour by hour, to consider the consolations or the desolations that occurred in your interactions with others as you went about your everyday activities. And then there's part of the examen where, as we reflect and see the ways that we have fallen short, we offer up our prayer of forgiveness or our prayer of confession, confessing those ways in which we didn't live up to all that God would have of us in that day. And then finally, the last part of the prayer is to look to the next day and invite God's grace into it. So I'd like to lead us in that space, in this spiritual examen of giving gratitude for the day that was, thinking through that day hour by hour, asking for forgiveness for the places where we've fallen short, and then seeking God's grace for the next day. So I invite you to join me in this examination and just to sit still, to close your eyes, to ground yourself in where you are, and to take 2 or 3 deep breaths. And just collect yourself and be still before God for a moment as we enter into the spiritual examen together. Having centered yourself, think back on your day with gratitude and give thanks to God for all that was good within it. Having offered up thanksgiving, now think back on your day from the moment you woke up and just hour by hour go through the day, examining your choices, seeing the places where you accepted God's invitations, the places where you resisted, the places where you felt consolation or desolation, and just journey through your day 1 hour at a time. And now in those places where you recognize how you have fallen short, just ask for forgiveness. Confess those moments of failing without judgment of yourself, and invite God's mercy and grace upon you. And finally, look to tomorrow. Consider all that lies before you in that day, and just invite God's grace and God's goodness to be with you as you go into that day. Amen and amen. That's really it. That's the Spiritual Examen of Ignatius. There's lots of different ways to do it, and you can take as long as you want with it and sit with these items longer or shorter. But it's just reflection, thinking back on the day it was, and anticipating the day that is ahead, and recognizing that God has been present with you within it, and becoming more aware of that presence within you and around you. So go in peace into the rest of your night.